Holman was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Mm-hmm. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents.
If you remember, there was a spat between AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Holman, who is the new immigration border czar.
Flashback.
Do you believe she is breaking the law?
I'll leave that up to DOJ. What I find disturbing is that any member of Congress wants to educate people how to evade law enforcement. You can claim you're educating those constitutional rights. Okay, you can keep that claim. But what she in fact is doing is telling people don't open your door, hide in your home, don't talk to ICE. We're talking about people who are in the country illegally, committed a crime, they're a public safety threat, they've been convicted of serious crime, and they've been ordered removed by a federal judge. So it's like AOC and others don't want ICE to enforce the laws that they enacted. She's a member of Congress. Let us enforce the laws you enacted. That's what we're supposed to do.
You can't go after her. Do you think others should?
No, I think I've asked DOJ, where's that line of impediment, of interference? Now, if someone stands in your way, prevents you from arresting somebody, put your hands on him, that's impediment. But what line is telling people to hide from ICE, not open the door? Where do you cross that line on impediment? So I simply asked the Department of Justice, give us that line.
You have talked to them about this.
And AOC was on I think it was YouTube Live, and she was giving out some advice to people on how to avoid detection, people who are in the country without permission.
Flashback.
When one of these things comes to your backyard, you can resist. And what that happens over millions of people is that you generate enough friction that they cannot go as fast as they want to go. Make sure that you are slowing down this system.
AOC's office advising migrants on how to avoid deportations. That was a live webinar. Trump border czar Tom Homan now issuing a warning to AOC.
I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it?
She's telling them how to avoid detection by the federal government who might want to deport them. And Holman did not like that. He actually said he was going to talk to the Department of Justice about that to try to find out if AOC's actions are even legal. So let's play a quick clip where AOC is going to comment on this. And then we are going to get into a letter that AOC wrote to the Department of Justice to try to determine if they have her under investigation.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Meanwhile,
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
First, Tom, when you see that video, I'm curious, what do you think?
Well, he's wrong. He's going back to Haiti. I tell him that. And look, I've said it on this network for 4 years. Joe Biden, opened these borders on purpose. It wasn't a mismanagement. It wasn't incompetence. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made the promises while he was running for president, and he kept those promises. At least you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, they've opened this border up, and President Trump's going to secure the border, the highest level ever. You thought we had a secure border before? Watch what happens now. It'll be the tightest border in the history of this nation, and ICE officers are finally getting the handcuffs taken off them, and they're going to put them on the bad guys throughout the country.
And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
The numbers are in, and they're absolutely staggering. In just 1 month under President Trump, illegal border crossings have plummeted by an unprecedented 94%. Let me repeat that. From 300,000 illegal aliens in December to just 8,000 in February. This isn't just a policy success. It's a vindication of everything Trump has been saying for nearly a decade. While Democrats spent years mocking border walls, attacking ICE agents, and deliberately creating this humanitarian catastrophe, Trump has proven once again that strong borders aren't just possible, they're achievable with actual leadership. The Media Research Center confirms border crossings have hit a 25-year low during Trump's first month back in office. Meanwhile, AOC is doubling down, offering guidance to illegal immigrants on how to evade ICE. The contrast could not be clearer. El Paso residents deserve a community free of international gang activity. All Americans do. We won't stop until TDA and other transnational criminal organizations are out of our country. Okay, there's a number here on the screen. 866-DHS-2-ICE. Write that down because if you need to report something, see something, say something, that's the number to call. And they were quote tweeting HSI El Paso. Law enforcement partners arrest 8 Venezuelan nationals suspected of being Tren de Aragua members. 6 remain in ICE custody pending removal. 2 are pending federal action. And we got this from the Rapid Response 47. 2 powerful Mexican drug cartels have flooded the U.S. with fentanyl, leading to the worst drug crisis in American history. Fentanyl responsible for more than 70,000 deaths just last year. The U.S. is losing a generation to fentanyl. Drug Enforcement Administration Administrator Ann Milgram said in an interview on 60 Minutes. So they were quote tweeting CNBC. Trump dashes hope for last-minute Canada and Mexico deal ahead of 25% tariffs. Now we got this from Homeland Security. Border security goes beyond the northern and southern border. It includes the maritime border. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem's leadership, the USGC has stepped up its efforts to capture aliens attempting to illegally enter. This is a clip from News Nation. Well, this looks crazy. Let's check this out.
Hands up! Hands up!
The Coast Guard has been busy with interdictions this month.
Well, which one is it? 12, 13, or 14?
31 migrants packed onto a small fishing boat. 24 Chinese migrants hiding out in an engine compartment. And look at this. A Chinese migrant found miles offshore on a paddleboard with a suitcase strapped to it.
Hands up! Hands up!
A suitcase strapped to it. We're joined right now, J.R. Majewski in the studio. A rare opportunity to weigh in on what's happening. Real quick, J.R., what are your thoughts on what we're seeing with ICE's actions right now?
I think we're seeing Tom Homan and Kristi Noem just enforce the law. I mean, we've had so much go on.
You make it sound so simple.
But it is. It really is. I mean, and Homan and Kristi Noem have both said it. This isn't rocket science. This is enforcing the laws that are on the books and actually using our DHS and ICE agents for, what they want to. I mean, I know a lot of DHS and ICE folks, they just want to do their jobs, and they want the handcuffs off of them, for a lack of better terms, and they're able to do that now. And the reduction in illegal migrants crossing the border is phenomenal. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it because they're doing a hell of a job.
Sure.
It's not fundamentally it's enforcing the law.
Well, you bring up rocket science, and thankfully we have somebody in the administration who knows about rocket science, and he's, of course, going through our administration, the whole government, with a fine-tooth comb.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about Elon Musk, of course. But let's keep going. We've got more news to get to in this segment here because it's happening so fast we can barely keep up with it. We got this 300,000 illegals December 2023, 8,000 illegals February 2025. What a difference a new president makes. We've got this 5 migrant gotaways arrested on a Texas ranch 50 miles from the border. This is Breitbart, Texas. So ICE is on the case all over the country. Thank God. Oh, here's the Trump effect. This was the press release I received earlier from the White House. Migrant encounters at the southern border hit lowest ever mark, down 94% since last February. Of course, quoting, they had a screenshot here from Breitbart. And we've got this here, 300,000 illegal aliens crossing December, 8,000 in February. Let's see what this guy's. Okay, we got a clip here. Let's play it out.
Border Patrol apprehension. Breaking. Border Patrol releasing brand new December border numbers. There were over 300,000 migrant encounters in December. That is the highest month ever recorded.
Some new border apprehension numbers, which are the lowest ever monthly total in American history. The president putting out on Truth Social, there was 8,326 Border Patrol apprehensions. Just for context, John, sometimes there was more than 8,000 illegal aliens apprehended in a single day under the Biden administration.
Breaking Border Patrol.
3,000 a day during the Biden administration. Unreal.
Remember, in 2019, the Chinese told President Trump at that time that they would put the death penalty on anybody who made fentanyl. And today, they're giving the maximum subsidy they possibly can to the people making those ingredients. So the Chinese need to stop this murder of Americans, and Donald Trump is the only president who protects the American people.
Wow. The Chinese are subsidizing? What?
Yeah. You believe that?
That's sick, dude.
That's the Chinese way. That's how they're taking over the world. They're stealing our IP and they're murdering our kids. I mean,
oh man. Well, at least it's now out there. We understand this and we can confront it.
Yeah.
And that's what's important here. Okay, let's keep going.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally.
Mm-hmm.
Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry, and are you going to do it?
What would you learn? What do you hope to learn from that exchange?
I think it's important to know where this administration stands and if they intend on using political intimidation to silence their critics.
So now let's take a look at this news report, and we're going to take a look at the letter that AOC wrote. So the report says AOC asks Pam Bondi, so this is the head prosecutor at the DOJ. AOC asks Pam Bondi if the DOJ is investigating her for telling illegal immigrants how to avoid ICE. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez asked U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday whether the Department of Justice is investigating her office for teaching illegal immigrants how to avoid the Trump administration's mass deportations earlier this month. AOC's congressional office and Lawyers with Immigrant Defense Project also held a, quote, Know Your Rights with ICE, quote, webinar 2 weeks ago, educating illegal immigrants at risk of deportation about their rights and how U.S. immigration and customs enforcement gathers information and enforces immigration laws. Now, she wrote a letter, y'all. Let's just skip over to the letter. So that's what you see on the thumbnail there. It is, now I want y'all to look at this letter. This is from AOC's office. She calls Pam Bondi the Honorable Pam Bondi. And if you notice at the bottom, she CCs the Honorable Donald J. Trump. Isn't that interesting? Never thought I would see AOC referring to Donald Trump as honorable, but there you have it. Dear Attorney General Bondi, I write to request clarity on whether the Department of Justice has yielded to political pressure and attempts to weaponize the agency against elected officials whose speech they disagree with. Over the past 2 weeks, quote, border czar, quote, tomhoman has gone on multiple forums threatening political persecution against me, citing resources I distributed, informing my constituents and the American public of their constitutional and legal rights. On February 13, 2025, Mr. Homan announced that he had asked the Deputy Attorney General to open an investigation and that I will be, quote, in trouble now, quote. It has been 14 days since Mr. Homan first threatened to weaponize your agency, but I have not yet heard any referral from the federal government. Homan's actions undercut core constitutional rights, and further transparency is necessary. I am sure you are aware of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Indeed, last week, Vice President Vance said that, quote, "We may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square." Quote, Mr. Holman's repeated attempts to use your agency to politically intimidate duly elected officials are a textbook threat to the right of freedom of speech in the United States. Threatening criminal proceedings for exercising the First Amendment is itself a violation of the First Amendment. Educating the public about their rights, especially in a time of rising uncertainty, is a key part of our responsibility as elected officials. A government that uses threats of DOJ investigations to suppress free speech is a threat to all, regardless of political ideology. Please respond no later than March 5th, 2025, with an update on the Department of Justice's response to Mr. Holman's request and transparency as to whether my office or myself is actively under investigation for exercising their First Amendment rights and executing on our congressional responsibilities. Signed, AOC.
Oh, what's this? This is 23 hours ago. DOJ filing charges against New York Governor Hochul, AG Letitia James. Oh, this is
Beautiful. This happened last week.
Was this last week?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear what Pamela Bondi has to say.
Filed charges against. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today.
And it's stopping right now. JR, real quick, this clip was from a week ago. What was your reaction when you saw the DOJ come out against New York?
Well, I mean, I think Pamela Bondi is a strong AG. She's been, the epitome of loyal to the president, and some would argue that this is a revenge, right, for how the New York AG and the governor went after Trump.
I can see that argument, sure.
But I think they have enough evidence. If they wanted to go at them for the lawfare, they could do that directly. I think they're doing the right thing here by just going after their immigration policies. New York is. I mean, look, when I was on the campaign trail, one of the things that I said was, Democrats love moving illegal immigrants into our cities, but when they got to Martha's Vineyard, I didn't see anybody offering them a glass of wine, right? But that's the way, and I think Pam's going to be strong. I mean, look, there was a fumble on this Epstein list stuff, but
well, I think she's got a lot of opposition there.
Yeah,
she's fighting it from within. So, I mean, people want to complain that she didn't release everything. You got to look at the big picture here.
Yeah.
I mean, the swamp runs deep,
right.
And it's not just in Washington D.C. It has tentacles all over the country, all over the world.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to give her some grace here on that topic specifically.
And people are going after her past. Look, people that have become loyal to the president have done so based on him winning them over. So despite what people have done in the past, if Trump is willing to anoint them and promote them and employ them, that should be enough for us. And I have a personal stake in this. I know Pam, and she's been nothing but great to me. And I think she'll make a phenomenal AG. I just think that the Trump administration and some of these folks have to realize that the American public right now has zero tolerance for misinformation, no matter if it's intended or not. So when you say that the Epstein files are on your desk, we think that means you have everything and you're getting ready to unleash the Kraken. If you don't have that, all you have to do is tell us, and that'll temper our expectations. But
I mean,
she'll
like
learn.
when you look at
She'll learn.
the binder that they released, obviously there was a lot of public information that was already included. You know, the rollout of that, whatever.
It was a fumble, right? They just can't do it again.
I mean,
cannot do it again.
You know, and bringing out all those influencers and handing them binders, and then you had the photo op in front of the White House. I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but regardless, you know, she did put the letter out. We're waiting to find out what else is going to be disclosed. She's got a deep swamp to fight. So
Trump has inherited a ship, and the unfortunate reality is that the majority of the folks that are on the ship have been engaged in mutiny since November.
Wow.
And he has to make sure that those that are engaged in mutiny suffer the merchant's price.
Wow.
And that's walking the plank and getting the hell out of here. And that's the best analogy I can put it. I mean, he's the captain of the ship now, and you know there's some pirates. He's got to get rid of them. But Pam Bondi is not one of them.
Yeah. Well, show done. We got AOC. Oh, this is 14 hours ago. Libs of TikTok. AOC doubling down on offering guidance to illegals. Well, I think Tom Homan should make an appointment. What do you guys think? Let's check this out. Oh, this is on NPR. Of course, she's on NPR. I think Doge needs to go over to NPR and defund that. How about, what do you say? Let's hear it.
I was informed.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
I'm going to pause that. Do illegal aliens have a constitutional right? JR,
no.
Real quick here. What do you
Absolutely not. But I think where AOC gets it wrong fundamentally, her job is to educate no one. Her job is to represent the will of the people that have elected her. She's a member of the House of Representatives. And, you know, DC's Hollywood for ugly people, right? And AOC may be one of the prettiest women in the House, but she's no LA A-lister.
Well, at least she's still learning how to use the garbage disposal. I think at last we checked, she has actually learned how to use it, and we're really proud of AOC over here. And you know, we just hope that everything works out the next time she has to dispose of something, especially like the truth that she continues to grind up every day. Let's keep going with this clip here. We got more. Let's see what she has.
And they got rid of George Santos.
Oh, Santos.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Mm-hmm. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
Okay. I got to pause again, because are illegal aliens part of the constituency?
No. Well, I mean, in the minds of a Democrat, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, their entire aim was to open the border, flood, and get us to a position where the federal government was offering amnesty because we couldn't manage the deportations. Trump and Homan show them how that's done.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's see what more dribble she spills.
Not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry, and are you going to do it?
What would you learn? What do you hope to learn from that exchange?
I think it's important to know where this administration stands and if they intend on using political intimidation to silence their critics.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's pregnant. What do you think, JR? Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I think she's pregnant.
Probably.
Yeah.
She knows who the dad is, but look, I think this is just.
She's pregnant with lies.
This is such intellectual dishonesty. But this is what comes out of their mouths. Tom Homan is not threatening, political injustice. He's making a recommendation to the Department of Justice, the arbiter of law, and it is up to them to determine whether or not she's breaking the law. Now, I would propose that a congresswoman calling the Department of Justice and inquiring on whether or not an investigation is being opened on them would be a little bit intimidating, rather than the other way around.
Well, it's almost as if she thinks she's doing something wrong.
It'd be like the chief justice of a local court system calling the sheriff and saying, "Hey, are you going to open a case on me?" I mean, the sheriff may think, "Well, what's this judge getting to?" I mean, he's a pretty powerful person. I mean, that's essentially what AOC is doing. But then, the sheriff would then say, "Well, the mayor, said I was breaking the law, and he was going to call you." I mean, this is just it's a construct that she's coming up with to push forward her agenda. She's not a victim here. She's absolutely not a victim. The illegal immigrants that are here that are going to be deported, and some of them have absolutely no understanding why. She should be educating them on why they're getting deported if she wants to offer education. I mean, that would be the job of a responsible member of our House of Representatives.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Okay, so the border crisis wasn't an accident or a failure of resources. It was an intentional policy choice by the Biden administration. They deliberately dismantled Trump's successful border policies, halted wall construction, ended Remain in Mexico, and signaled to the world that our doors were wide open. The consequence? The worst border crisis in American history. With deadly fentanyl pouring into our communities, human trafficking exploding, and overwhelmed border towns left to cope with the chaos. But now, with decisive leadership, we are seeing what's possible when America puts its citizens first. So the question is, and this is for you guys in the comments, will Democrats admit that they were wrong about the border? Or will they continue gaslighting Americans about the spectacular Trump success? And show your border patriotism with our exclusive Next News gear. It's linked down below, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
I was giving advice to all of my constituents.
Meanwhile,
Turning now to New York City, where a massive 2,200-bed all-male migrant shelter just reopened yesterday, and residents are furious.
I have young women who come to me to study. I have never been afraid of South Bronx. I am now terrified. I'm terrified for me, for my students. I will have to move. You have made a terrible mistake.
As literally someone that has lived this experience personally, you should be ashamed. It is not okay for you to take our tax money.
Even Democrat Congressman Richie Torres wants New York City to, quote, stop treating the Bronx as a dumping ground for an endless stream of shelters. The move comes as the Big Apple closes the Roosevelt Hotel migrant shelter in Manhattan that became a symbol of the city's migrant crisis.
We are announcing the Roosevelt Hotel will be closing in the coming months. Saving taxpayer in New York is millions of dollars.
Certainly hitting close to home for the folks in the Bronx. What of the vibe shift? What's happening now?
Well, look, they're closing Roosevelt, so basically they're taking a lot of them that were here in Midtown and they're moving them out to the Bronx. And it's, as the congressman said, they become a dumping ground out in the Bronx. Every one of those people should be deported. They don't need to open any more migrant shelters. Go in there, ICE, get ERO in there, and deport those people. Bring them back to where that's what the Trump administration's all about. When you're a sanctuary city and you're a sanctuary state, guess what? They're not going to cooperate with ICE. But they really should be doing is deporting these people, not sheltering these people. Shelter them back in Guatemala, Mexico, or wherever they came from. That's where their shelter should be.
I mean, Lisa, is it just migrant musical chairs, or is there something that will actually happen here in New York City? Because they're not on the side of their own voters here.
Let's be clear, though, that New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he didn't have some sort of come to Jesus moment. He shut down the Roosevelt Hotel because FEMA revoked $80 million from New York City because they accused New York City of illegally using that money for sort of this high-end shelter with the hotel. So that's why he did that. It wasn't because, you know, he's trying to do the right thing here. I think one of these mayoral candidates, as the race heats up, should emphasize this, should make this a key issue. This isn't a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's an American issue. We saw this play out politically with the presidential election being the second top issue for American voters. Also, these sanctuary cities are going to have to figure out what are they going to do, right? New York City's already spent billions of dollars on the migrant crisis. And now that the federal spigot is turned off, do they want to continue to absorb those costs without getting federal dollars? So, you know, the rubber is going to meet the road and they're going to have to figure out what they want to do.
What do you say, Johnny?
Well, in reading about this, so this Bronx facility they're going to use is owned by a company called Sobro Local Development Corporation. They're a nonprofit. They're tax exempt in their development.
But of course.
And their statement is enhance the quality of life in the South Bronx by strengthening businesses and creating and implementing innovative economic, housing, educational, and career development programs for youth and adults. So this scheme is so bad that they acquired this building probably for free. Right. They're tax exempt, and the whole reason the community let that happen was so they would bring business there. They're supposed to turn it into some sort of manufacturing to bring jobs, and instead they're bringing essentially what will become freeloaders in some way or another. Freeloading in citizenship and money and everything else. It really what it does, it just shows, I mean, this place is, it's not governed or represented by moderates, liberals. That lady was an art teacher that was saying she wasn't feeling safe. You think she voted for Trump? No, this does nothing but strengthen Trump's case for immigration, but in the meantime, it hurts people in the city.
To me, this is just bare minimum governance stuff, right?
Yeah.
We wanted economic development. You brought us 2,200 people who might hurt us and are definitely taking our tax dollars. That doesn't seem like a great deal for the people of New York, whether they're liberal or conservative.
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
Beneath the scorching sun of East Texas, a massive community is growing. Colony Ridge, a 34,000-acre haven just outside Houston, is projected to house nearly 250,000 people in the near future. Project Veritas rolled into the Lone Star State. Cameras focused on the developers selling dreams of homeownership to foreigners. Many now exposed as illegal immigrants, some linked to cartels, snapping up land for pennies. With little national attention, a small city is rising, built by illegal immigrants and Chinese cash.
So what are you waiting for? Come and find the land of your dreams.
I don't check anybody's citizenship status. That's actually legal. So yeah, I don't mess with it. We sell to anybody who fits that criteria. So
Perfect.
It doesn't matter who they are in this.
So if they're undocumented?
Because we're not check that.
You don't check that?
We're not check that.
That's good.
We, you know, as long as they have the two identifications, valid identifications.
You know, we're concerned about people that are coming here that might not have their documents. They still want to have a home.
Exactly. That's why we help that way, right? But we do, when they go inside with the notary, they will ask them if they are residential. They want to ask proof. They want.
Okay.
50 people in Mexico that want to come over here and, you know, start settling here in Colony Ridge. Can we buy in bulk?
We can negotiate that.
The 200 families that come here a month, are they a lot from Mexico?
Maybe the biggest is going to be Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador.
Early Monday morning, HSI, along with special agents and Texas DPS, made the arrest in and around Colony Ridge, a largely Hispanic development outside of Houston.
I don't care if it's Mexico or
anywhere.
They want to ask proof.
I don't check anybody's citizenship status. I don't mess with any of that. As of today, we're at 12,650
rooftop. So we're putting the schools are telling us a formula of about 4.3 people per household, based off of what the school's seeing in their growth numbers and their attendance. So we're about 55,000 is our best estimate today right now of about what we have out here. So we're privately owned, 34,000 acres here. Our company develops and sells land. That's all we do.
Okay.
Sell land, sell dirt. We take cash, we close the title company through financing, or we'll finance our residential lots at low as $500 down.
That's awesome. That's incredibly helpful for people who might be, I mean, some of your clients that might be undocumented.
Okay.
So that's still going to be open for them, right?
I don't check anybody's citizenship status. That's actually legal. So yeah, I don't mess with any of that. So I have no clue what they are. If they financially qualify and they can produce a site plan and a project that will work, and they can meet the timelines and expectations of our contract, and they can afford it, and we can vet them and qualify them, then we're going to sell it to them.
So for someone to come in from Mexico, they just need $500 down. You're telling me
for a residential lot.
Residential? Wow.
We don't care. I mean, we don't care if it's Mexico or
anywhere.
Well, his clients would be okay.
We don't care. All right, I thought I was right. And that's right. So it's driver's license, passport, Social Security, I-10, insurance cards. Those are your main criteria. About which one? Two of those.
Does it have to be a U.S. passport? Do you know?
I don't think so. No, a passport's a passport.
It could be a Mexican.
It shows who you are.
Mexican passport.
It's verifying that you are who you are.
Yeah, I'm new to this, but
so we sell to anybody who fits that criteria.
Perfect.
So it doesn't matter who they are in this.
Perfect.
That's my understanding. Gentlemen, the one and only Sandy.
Hola.
She's been here for a lot longer than I have, so she's very well versed on anything residential.
It can be a Mexican passport?
It can be a Mexican passport, but we need two. The passport and maybe the...
Like a Mexican passport and a Mexican driver's license. Would that be okay?
Yes, those two.
No, so it doesn't matter.
But
Go ahead.
They need to be residents of Texas.
Okay, they need to live here?
Yes.
So if they're undocumented?
Because we not check that.
You don't check that?
We not check that.
That's good.
We, as long as they have the two identifications, valid identifications, and if they have a ITIN, they need to show us a paper for the ITIN number.
Yeah, because anybody can get an ITIN. It doesn't have to be a U.S. citizen or anything like that.
Exactly.
Mexican can
Especially
get a tax
that.
number.
We can do that with that because that is like, like your social security number.
We're concerned about people that are coming here that might not have their documents. They still want to have a home.
Exactly. That's why we help that way, right? But we do, when they coincide with the notary, they will ask them if they are residential. They want to ask proof. They want.
Okay.
They will ask them.
The 200 families that come here a month, are they a lot from Mexico or from different countries?
Countries.
What's the biggest countries coming here?
Maybe the biggest is going to be Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from El Salvador.
And Cuba. We have a lot of Cubans.
Are you seeing any Chinese investors coming to the area?
Yes.
You do business with everybody. Yeah, including the Chinese.
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.